Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are watching me for the first time, then welcome. If you are a returning viewer, then a very warm welcome as well. Whether you are new or returning, please do consider subscribing if you haven't done so. And to every subscriber, thank you for your support. I greatly appreciate it. Now, in this clip, I want to talk to you about relationships, and not just the relationships that exist between romantic partners, but relationships across the board, all human contact, no matter how brief. And I'd like to get you thinking about these contacts in an esoteric way. What tends to happen with human contact is that we tend to deal with them on a human level. That's to say, we interact with people physically or psychologically and emotionally, but in a human way, and feel that we can handle it like that. It's fine. But relationships, all human contact, has an esoteric role. They are a determining factor. These contacts are a determining factor, not only in our day-to-day lived experience, but in our ability to manifest or not. And hopefully by the end of this clip, you'll be able to think about relationships a little bit differently. Okay, so I'm going to give you a brief example. Let's say there's a young woman called Sandra who's trying to manifest a new house for herself. And she's a student of Neville Goddard. She loves Neville, reads Neville, tries to apply his techniques to the best of her ability, and has decided that she's going to set her sights on manifesting herself a new house. I'm making this up. This is not based on anything I know about. And she has a best friend called Linda, and she's very fond of Linda, and they've been friends for years. And what Sandra doesn't understand about her relationship with Linda is that every contact she makes with Linda causes her to feel unworthy or undeserving of. And so what happens is that comes back to her in physical form in some way. Every impression we make on consciousness comes back to us as an objective reality, something. It takes on whatever form. Esoterically, nothing is implied. When we feel something, we make an impression, we get the representation of that impression in whatever form is most natural and appropriate to where we are in our lives. And I just want to mention here that if you're not familiar with the sort of thing I'm talking about, please look at some of my other videos. I'm talking about consciousness, the realm of cause, what causes our physical life experience to be, and how we interact with that source of cause. So if you're not familiar with that, please look at my other videos as well. So back to Sandra and Linda. Sandra's doing everything she can to manifest this house, but she doesn't understand that she makes a continual impression on consciousness of being undeserving, and for some reason this house just isn't showing up. What Sandra needs to do is actually find a way to disconnect herself from Linda emotionally. So even if she doesn't want to give up that friend, she can disconnect from that relationship, and so that she'll stop making impressions on consciousness that are undermining her efforts to manifest what she wants. I'll speak about how you do that in just a moment, but I want you to think about that as I'm talking to you about relationships. Okay, so remember, we are beings of consciousness. We interact with consciousness using the spiritual language of emotion. We are communicated to by consciousness through desire, the invisible gifts of God. But we're not going to talk about desires right now. We're talking about the impressions that we make on consciousness. And when we make those impressions, remember, they show up as an objectified reality in some form or another that is a faithful representation of what we have felt. And so it's very, very important then that we really forensically examine all of the contacts that we make with people on a day-to-day basis, particularly those that are capable of making us feel something, and see how those contacts and the feelings they produce align with the lives we wish to live, or the things that we are specifically trying to manifest. So I hope that is clear. I'm now going to share with you a very simple and effective technique for really taking your relationships to the next level, or making them work for you in the way that they really should and can. When you think about, I want you to think about something you're trying to manifest, or perhaps it is something you're trying to be. There's a certain quality of life that you're trying to express. And I want you not to think about any of the physical circumstances or conditions that would tell you that you cannot have, be, or do that thing. but only about the relationships in your life. Now, this exercise can take a little bit of time, but it is certainly worth the investment. And it's better if you're able to do this privately. So if you are writing in a journal, paper and pen, you need to find a way to keep that information private. You can do it on your phone or your laptop, but you just need to find a way to keep the information private. And what you're going to do is list every contact that you make, every relationship. And it could be relationships that come up infrequently, or relationships, you could include relationships that you made that day that you don't normally have. It's entirely up to you how much time you have to devote to this. And I want you to just make this list of people. If you are a very social person and you have a very large group of friends, you may want to write group of friends, maybe work friends or whatever it might be. And then if there are one or two names from that group that stand out to you, you can jot them down. The wonderful thing about this sort of exercise is that you will be led, actually, because your body of consciousness knows who is significant to you in this way. So you may end up with a list of 100 people. You could end up with a list of 5 people. If you are somebody who thinks that you're always alone, you will have come into contact with someone. Okay, so you, no matter how long or short, you make this list. And what you're going to do is go through every name in turn. You're not going to use any of the muscles associated with speech. You're going to use your subjective voice, the voice of your body of consciousness, and simply say the name. And then notice how you feel. If in saying the name, so John, you notice that you feel something beneath your solar plexus, you're going to put a little asterisk next to, or a star next to the name. If you feel something above your solar plexus, there is no need to take any action. So you're just going to put an asterisk, a star, next to any name that causes you to feel something beneath your solar plexus. Now, you can, at the top of this piece of paper, make a note about what it is you're trying to be, do, or have, or specifically manifest, if you want to remind yourself that you're doing this exercise relative to that end, or in the context of that expression of life or that manifestation. Okay. So I'm going to use a technique from Neville Goddard. Remember, he says that emotions rather are the ties that bind, and indifference is the knife that severs. So for every name that caused you to feel something beneath your solar plexus, you are going to sever all emotional ties with that person for a 24-hour period. And how do you do that? If when you see that person, you're not just seeing their physical form, you are feeling something when they are speaking to you or doing whatever it is that they're doing that gets to you. As soon as that person comes to your mind or you're aware that you're feeling something, you're going to deliberately think about something else. And I want you to mentally put a line through that name. So it could be a colleague and it could be someone you live with. It doesn't matter who it is. This is the beauty of keeping this sort of exercise private. When you meet that person and you tighten up or roll your eyes or whatever it might be, mentally draw a line through their name, see their name on the piece of paper, mentally draw a line through it and think about something else. And it's going to be something that's really far removed. When you are able to be, we talked about, please watch the video of the 12 disciples. When you're stronger and you've actually discipled the different aspects of your mind, you will find it very, very easy to become indifferent to anyone who's not useful to you. And I'll share a personal experience in just a moment. Okay, so you're going to keep drawing a line through that person's name, and you can still interact with them physically. So this is what I'm talking about. It is the realm of cause that's more significant here. It's your emotional contact with that person that's more significant than your physical contact with them. If this is someone who is harmful to you, hopefully you'll be able to, no, not hopefully, actually, as you sever ties with them emotionally, you will find that they will fade away from you because you will enter into another state where they won't live. And so when that happens, they'll disappear from your life anyway. So you don't need to make any physical outward steps to make that happen. You can just allow that to happen. So you're going to be severing emotional ties with that person using this exercise. And I just want you to do that in the first instance for a 24-hour period, and then notice how you feel. Now, in my own experience, I had a professional relationship with someone, professional slash friendly relationship with someone who was not good for me, that they always made me feel a little bit down. And so I severed all ties with that person, and I felt so much better. I noticed how much better I felt, and this is why I'm inviting you to do that. Now, what happens as you begin to jettison the human contacts that are not good for you, you strengthen the bonds of the contacts that are good for you. So I'm not talking in this video about meeting the person of your dreams. That is of your request, and I'm turning that over in my mind. But I'm talking about all human contacts and the role they play in our day-to-day lives. Okay, so once you've done that and you've gotten rid of everyone that isn't good for you, you are creating more room, emotional space for those who are good for you. Now, as always, I invite you to submit any questions you have. Please keep your questions to 1 to 2 centimeters maximum, and you could submit them in the comments box below. A lot of you have been using my website to contact me, and also Facebook Messenger. Please don't write to me on Facebook Messenger anymore. I don't want to, I can't keep up with people on Facebook Messenger. Thank you for your understanding in that. So do try this. You will find as you clear out these triggers, these contacts that are making you feel emotions that are not helpful to you, you're going to invite into your life automatically the things that are helpful to you, the things that support you being, doing, and having what you truly want. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed sharing this information with you. And as I say, please submit any questions in the comments below, and I look forward to joining you in the next upload.